Welcome to Numb Bills Fan Podcast number 151. It is Friday evening, and I'm your host, David Palermo. Follow Numb Bills Fan everywhere. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Get on it. Shoot me an email, dave@numbbillsfan.com. Listen to the past podcast with Rodney Schuler, number 150. Took Rodney to the game because he's a sweet person, and he did the 5-star review contest and won a ticket. So Rodney came out. Check out his experience, number 150. Anyways, real quick, Marcell Dareus just got traded to the Jaguars for a 2018 6th-round pick. And on the line with us, we have two callers for a very, very special podcast because apparently all three of us have no life. But we have Kevin Massare from Locked On Bills, and then we also have Nick Pap from the infamous Red Pinto Tailgate. So I don't know how we're going to do this without seeing each other, but Nick, you want to say hello, and then Kevin, you want to say hello.
What's going on, everybody? What's up? Glad to be on here, Dave, with you, as always, man. Well,
guys, as always, thank you for picking up the slack on my end because it seems like it is what it is for me here. So, immediate reaction, Kevin, you want to go with your immediate reaction, and then when you think you're wrapped up, we'll move right on to Nick, and then I'll wrap us up from there and move on to the next tier, which will be
absolutely.
What chemistry do we lose, etc. So
sure, for sure. Yeah, so I mean, you look at this trade at face value, and you're trading a very talented asset for a 6th-round pick, but you can't really discount the fact of what you clear off the cap space of this deal. So you're talking about something I look at closely is salary. I'm in contact with Spot Track. We DM all the time. So something to keep in mind is that you essentially save half of this deal. I mean, you're still sticking the Jaguars with $50 million over the course of their 4 years here, but you're eating a lot of dead cap space. So I mean, you're talking about really only a savings of about $5.5 million this year, about 2.5 next year. So you're really only saving about $8 million over 2 years. But then then the next couple of years are really where you're saving money. However, the one thing to note when you're kind of looking at this deal is that I don't think he was going to make it that far anyways. So you're really only saving that $8 million if you want my honest opinion. So you got to kind of evaluate it on the perspective of, the Bills saved $8 million over the course of 2 years. They're able to roll over that $5.5 million next year. So, regardless of what would have happened, they would have let him go in 2 years anyways because there's no dead money at that point. So, you're really only saving that $8 million. You're getting a 6th-round pick. What production did you really lose? You lost a guy that wasn't necessarily the right fit. However, he could really start to pick it up. Although, a guy like Doug Marrone traded for him, a guy that he's had rips with. He's also one drug suspension away from an entire year's suspension. So that's something you got to factor in this whole thing. And one failed drug test, just one mess with drugs or weed will really set him back an entire year. And then his salary is guaranteed, meaning that he actually gets paid during a suspension, unlike most contracts. So, those are some of my initial reactions.
Now, Kevin, one thing you didn't do, I appreciate that you kept it pro, but it is 2017. I love you to death. But what was your emotional opinion? Because you've been a very big Bills fan, and you're a huge Marcell Dareus fan, and we talked about him many times. But I mean, Marcell Dareus was the pick that we didn't expect to get. We thought we were getting Von Miller. And,
sure.
When they were talking J.J. Watt, and frankly, I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, right. Anyway, so what was your emotional feelings with it?
I think I emotionally detached after that. We had some couple of talks, and just when he was unable to get on the field, I think, by week 4, week 5, and he's playing 33% of snaps, at that point I realized he wasn't going to fit here. And I actually was prepping for a move of him on this offseason, and so were the Bills. I mean, they almost admitted it tonight that they thought they were going to move on from him this offseason. They had no idea that Jacksonville would call and say, hey, we'll give you 6th right now. We'll take away $5.5 million against the cap this year. Meaning that if he plays this out and still is only getting 33% snaps, you're still paying $5.5 million additional for that. So, that's money you can roll over into next year. So, my initial emotional reaction, I think, based on this season alone, I had to check out on him. I think he's immensely talented. I think they're getting a really strong player for a 6th-round pick. And, he's signed for them for another 4 or 5 years. So, you're getting a player really at somewhat of a discount, call it, because he's really only going to cost you, $50 million on the cap for 4 years.
Now, Nick, what were your feelings overall with the trade? And, if you want to go the same roundabout way, bring your emotions into play and be objective about it for us here. So Nick from Red Pinto Tailgate, Nick Pap. So you there with us, bud?
Yeah. So I was kind of the same way. It's just you heard everybody saying that he's going to get traded. He's going to get traded. I mean, the weird thing for me is they trade them on like a Friday night. It wasn't like a Monday, Tuesday trade. It's at the end of the week. You already went through the game plan with the team for the week, and then they trade them now. That was what was kind of strange to me. I mean, that was my first thought, and my second thought is, sweet, I don't have to pay this guy the $50 I owe him because I bet him that Florida would beat Alabama when I met him in Cincinnati a few years ago. So, Mr. Big Stuff, you're not getting your money now. Peace.
Is that it? I mean, like, how do you feel, like, cap wise? How do you feel? I mean, like where do you think the fall off was for Marcell? Like, when did you lose it with him? Because I've personally been a big supporter, and I have a lot of empathy for people. It's hard for people to judge growing up different ways than when you haven't experienced it.
Yeah. So I mean, the big thing for him is he was hurt, so he's getting work back. But when I kind of knew that he wasn't, I mean, this is after when he got sent home. Shit happens. You miss a flight or something. But when he came back from injury, and they're like, "How come Marcell Dareus isn't playing?" Coach goes, "We're going to have a competition for this position." That's why I knew this guy's days are numbered here. Like you're playing a big time player, and you're having a competition for a starting position, and that was kind of the writing on the wall. I mean, I think most people around here check themselves out. Like, yeah, he's not a scheme fit. He's an old regime guy. That's what happens. You get new coaches, their favorite players get cut. They have Fred Jackson got cut.
I don't know,
man. Guy ever when we get new coaches.
I don't think I think if he gave a shit, he would be a scheme fit. You know what I mean? Because that was what he was touted. You can move. You could do anything with him, and we've seen him do anything in multiple defenses, and that's the shitty part. Are you wrapped up, or can I rail now? What else you got for us? Okay,
I'm with you, dude.
So, right off the bat, dude, like, I thought it was a genius move. I'm like, fuck yeah, good, move this guy. If the Bills move Massare Dareus, I'm like, all right. If they cut him or move Marcell, sorry, bud, I can't back your ass up anymore. And I've backed him up on this podcast a lot because I believe people deserve a fair shake and a second chance. And not for nothing, if you could support the player, you're helping to support, the Pagula's investment in them. So it's like, I wish the best things for Massare Dareus. And, Steve Johnson even joked about it, that his drop ball in Pittsburgh was what got us the golden elephant. I think that's what he called it, something like that. Meaning Massare Dareus. So I think I misquoted it, but whatever way, that drop led to the pick of Massare Dareus, and Buddy Nix was gushing over him, and
Hey, quick sidebar, because you sit near me. Did you think Stevie Johnson caught that ball against Pittsburgh?
Which one?
That one where he dropped it in the end zone, right?
I didn't have seasons back then. I was not at that game.
Oh, my God. So I was going nuts because everybody jumped up and I didn't see he dropped it. I was like, we just beat the best team in football. We're an 0-7 team, wherever we were. Like, solid 10 minutes past, everybody, like, getting upset at him. We're still celebrating like we just won. We couldn't see that he dropped it.
Yeah, it was like a weird thing, man, because, Marcell came on the team the next year, and he was the baby, and he was showing so much promise, and we couldn't believe we got him, and that was the year that Cam Newton went number 1, right?
Yeah, Cam was 1, Von was
2, and Dareus was 3. Yeah, because I was the only idiot that thought that Cam Newton could possibly fall to 3, because like, no, they just drafted Clausen last year, they're not going quarterback, and I just watched one game of Cam Newton, which was just a national championship game, and it's like, he just fucking walks through Saban's defense like a monster. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, yeah, Bills, please. And I heard from an inside source that the Bills are pretty much foaming at the mouth when Cam Newton came in for a visit. And, a couple years later, you get EJ fucking Manuel. So, and they like Christian Ponder. So I'm glad we didn't get Christian Ponder.
Yeah, and anybody's better than Christian fucking Ponder.
Yeah, so as far as Marcell, man, it sucks. But damn, Brandon Beane, Genius Award. Great job, Brandon Beane. I know you're listening, dude. You got nothing else to do, I'm sure. I know you're listening, but anybody who knows Brandon Beane, tell him that probably us three say thank you. And time to move on.
How many trades has he done, though? Like, how many trades do the Bills usually do? This guy comes in, he's wheeling and dealing like it's a Madden video game.
You know what? It's that player for player shit, and not for nothing. Yeah. It's like, I don't understand. It's weird. It's really like fucking horse racing, okay? But horse racing, I was thinking about this today. Mushroom thoughts, okay? And I was like, all right, so it's like horse racing, but in horse racing, I don't really give a fuck about the jockey. You know what I mean? I'm like, all right, what's this horse done lately? Okay, that's what you look at, right? So it's like football, you're actually around the coaching and micromanaging all the bullshit, and it's like you need time for this soup to fucking, do its thing. It's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just a fucking weird thing. But Kevin, what are your thoughts on all this, by the way? Sorry to digress into nothing.
I mean,
wheeling and dealing everywhere, dude. Like,
I think you have to. A lot of people are still trying to, like Brandon Beane standing up there saying he's not trading players that aren't in his regime, and I just don't think you can take that at face value. Although I want to trust everything him and McDermott say, because they're straight up guys, trust the process. They have a lot of cliche taglines, but you got to look at it like this. There's only like 7 remaining players that were drafted by a different regime on the roster, so. You got to take that for what it's worth, like 7 draft picks or a few free agents that are still on the team, like Richie Incognito. But, and every one of them, Dave, almost has been on the trade block in one way or another. Adolphus Washington was rumored for a 5th-round pick earlier in the year. I mean, you have Cordy Glenn that's been rumored here and there, Chantrell Henderson, who's been rumored. So you have players that the remaining players from the regime, the past regimes, outside of, you trade for Jerry Hughes and Richie Incognito, but your draft picks they're no one that fits the scheme. They traded Ragland, Cardale Jones. You can't forget some of those low budget trades. So, you're looking at a front office that really wants their players.
I'll be honest. One thing I did not like is I did not like trading away equity. And when we lose games, I'm going to be railing that we don't have Sammy Watkins. At the same time, this offense looked promising to me that it ain't going to matter because it looked like the normal bigger play offense that we're used to seeing. I mean, I don't want to really totally get into that yet, but as far as like wheeling and dealing, it's like equity. That's why I had a problem getting rid of Sammy, but I did like the equity. Like we got a starter at the cornerback spot who's good enough. Unfortunately, hurt a lot, but he shows a lot of heart, as they'd say. Coming up, pulling up lame, and still getting that punching that ball off for a fumble a few games ago. EJ Gaines, really good player. I think he's solid, and it's like, you got your 2nd round pick, but it's, it kind of, I was thinking about this today. It's like these draft picks are so weird because, rumor has it, and I thought, man, Doug Wavy was an asshole, right? Or not Doug Wavy, Doug Marrone. And I've said it the whole time that Doug Marone's a fucking asshole. And a lot of people don't like Doug Marrone. Listen to how people talk about him. Like, he's just a miserable fuck. But at the same time, I've never met the man. So it's kind of unfair for me to judge him. I've never met him. Because I've met a lot of people who people think are assholes, but they just don't get how they are. And they're just no bullshit. And it's like...
How many players do you hear that hate Marrone? I mean, because the guy wins. And players want to play for him. And, like, when he went to Syracuse, all the former players, like, Rob Conrad, like Syracuse needs to hire this guy to turn the program around. I mean, who really hates him in Buffalo? Like Matthew Fairburn, like fuck that guy.
What I'm saying is like he was rumored when they drafted Sammy Watkins to walk out of the fucking room, like in the draft room. Like that was like Doug Marrone fucking put his hands up and goes, "What the fuck," and left. And you want to know something? I thought Doug Marrone was a moron when I heard it. Oh no, you got to support Whaley, but man, like this Bills team is like a team. You know what I mean? It's like if you're not on board, because what's happened is this year is we've seen different parts of this team fall and another part lifted up. You know what I mean? And it's really nice. And I've been calling it. There's going to be a game. It's just odds. There's going to be a game where the offense needs to bail the defense out, and that happened last. So tier 2 of this. How much of a loss, you guys, if we want to free ball on it, how much of a loss is it without Marcell and going into Oakland? I mean, I'm hoping Corey Glenn stays here and doesn't get shipped out before the trade deadline because you got Khalil Mack at least. I want to, at least if he tries from that side, which I doubt he'd want to go against Corey Glenn compared to the right side. But, you never know what people are going to try. So, how are you guys looking at it defensively without Dareus? I mean, Kevin, do you want to lead this off, and then Nick, you can just rebuttal it when you feel he pauses?
Yeah, sounds good, man. So, I mean, you're looking at, on a defensive scheme front, you're really going to fill in Dareus' role with a combination, a two-gapping combination here. So you're going to really use like a Cedric Thornton and Adolphus Washington to take care of that two-gapping. And one thing we haven't touched on today is Cedric Thornton. I mean, a really big money free agent that came into Dallas last year, signed a pretty big deal for his age, was released after one season, signed by Buffalo the second he was cut. Someone that plays some pretty good football, flies under the radar, made Dareus' play expendable. That's why that they were able to split reps 33%, 33%, 33%. So you have Cedric Thornton and Adolphus Washington who are now going to split those two-gapping reps 50-50. You have a Kyle Williams who's still going to take that more aggressive style attacking defensive tackle and split some of his reps with Terrelle Worthy. So you have a group of four that, quite frankly, the way Dareus is playing currently, you're not going to take a big step back from.
I don't think so.
Dareus at his full potential. Dareus at a full potential, absolutely. Those guys are not Dareus. So you have a mix there of guys that are heavy rotation, 33% of Dareus snaps plus, the way he's playing right now, which is average. You're not going to really see too much of a difference there. And we'll see if Doug Marrone's able to get anything out of him down there in Jacksonville. But that's kind of what you're going to see on a defensive tackle front. But nothing else across the defense is going to change. Your defensive ends are going to do what they do. Your linebackers are, still going to play the same scheme. And, cornerback, you're a little beat up with Gaines out, but, hopefully Sharice Wright steps in. But, you're in better shape than they are defensively, period.
I think that was a great point on Cedric Thornton because he played for the Eagles, got that big deal, but he played for McDermott under the Eagles, so he's a McDermott guy. And I mean, when he was active over like Adolphus Washington, like you could see that McDermott's getting his guys in there and starting to play them more, and that's where he was going to step up. And the thing with Dareus, it's kind of like the Sammy Watkins argument of last year. What are we going to do without Sammy Watkins this year? It's like, what did we do last year? We just played without him. He missed most of the season last year with that foot injury. Right. It's the same thing. You're really just making up for just one game of 54% of defensive plays. Most of the time it's 33%. That's a role player position you have to pick up. You can pick up a guy off the scrap heap for 33% of the defensive plays.
Yeah, I think we get it. I'm very guilty of it. We get attached to these players, and it's like, when people were ripping on Sammy Watkins for walking around Disney World after his foot surgery, and I'm like, man, lay off him, dude. But then I thought about it, and it's like, nah, I'm in shape, and I should be like not walking around. That would tire me out. And this dude just had foot surgery, and I come to find out, his fucking screws loosened up. Oh, I wonder why. You know what I mean? Like, geez, that shows you the fucking care. And you think that like we because we love sports and we use it to get our mind off. But keep in mind, why don't you people out there in the real world try thinking about your job after your job hours? Do yourself a favor, get real here. So, these kids are still kids, okay? And they're big time fucking investments. And it's really hard to sometimes rein the thing in. But man, if you could clear this cap space and not at least a little bit, and clear more of the cancer, which who knows, man? Maybe he picked up some bad habits, Marcell Dareus, from being around the former $100 million man, Mario Williams. When you hear Donald Jones talk about Mario Williams, damn, dude, you want to punch him in the face. Like he's that rich prick, entitled prick. And who knows? Maybe he just knows, who gives a fuck? But like when you got a coach that watches your damn practice tape, I'm sure he had his little notepad out in there. Hey, let's get this guy. Let's see what he does. And they played Marcell. They gave him every opportunity to show what he could do. So,
Yeah.
I mean, Kevin, how did he look on film? Did he look lazy, Marcell, or did he?
No, he was starting to get his groove back. I mean, I don't think he looked lazy. I don't think he looked like his normal disruptive self. I just don't think that the Bills wanted. I mean, it comes down to money. I mean, Bean's a bean counter. He's a money guy. He comes up from a day where you're counting money, and that's was something that was in his forte. He hired another money guy in Shane, and then he has Gain as well from Miami. So I mean, you have two real pro scouts that really focus on, is this player worth it for their money? And I think that you're looking at a two-gapping technique guy that you can develop a guy like Cedric Thornton on that minimum. That's basically going to be at least close to as good as Dareus is playing right now. So, I mean, on tape, he looked like he was getting a step back a little bit, but, he's two-gapping. So, I mean, you have him basically getting eaten by two offensive linemen and freeing up, whether it's another defensive lineman or whether it's your linebacking core, as you've seen so far in this attacking 4-3 zone defense. You'll see, the linebackers kind of be a little bit more free. Preston Brown, Ramon Humber kind of eating up tackles. So, I mean, what's really interesting is as a two-gapper, in a 4-3 especially, that has no value. A little bit more value in a 3-4 where you're only having three down linemen and you're expected to two-gap. But in a 4-3 two-gap, I mean, realistically, if that's your role, playing a little bit of that shaded nose, I mean, it's not the most valuable position on the field like it was under a different 3-4 scheme, or like it could have been under a little bit more of a man aggressive scheme. So I don't think you really saw too much of a drop off from going from him to Thornton. I don't love Adolphus Washington, but you still got some potential with pass rushing there, and Thornton kind of brings a little bit of both pass and rush for you. So you get a little bit of both worlds, and the 33% of snaps kind of ramped up to 40 or 50% for 1 week last week. I don't really think you're going to lose too much there. I mean, especially if you're going to say $5.5 million, that basically pays for Micah Hyde's salary. So you can just roll over that 5.5 next year, and now you're sitting at about $40 million next year to make a move and get your real two-gapping guy, maybe like a Starla Tulale, who's played underneath McDermott for many years.
Okay, so another topic for you guys real quick. And just real quick, if you wanted to touch on Anquan Boldin wanting to come out of retirement, and did you guys catch the letter that Eric Turner hovered out there from the Buffalo Bills that waned away around the internet?
The one that Schefter posted out?
Was that Schefter who posted it?
Yeah, first off, fuck Anquan Boldin. I'll throw that out there. What? That guy's a bitch. Oh my god, they traded Sammy Watkins. Now I want to retire. I think fuck him. You quit on a team, you're a bitch. Somebody wants to, I don't give a shit that he played with his jaw wired. That's a bitch move. You quit on your fucking family. That like the former player in me just gets super enraged at that fucking guy.
I was kind of like back, and I'm like, no, humanitarian services. But like, when you want to say you want to fucking play again, and it's like Brandon Bean, and then they're like, nah, fuck you, you walked away. Like, our locker room how are we gonna look at one of our developmental guys and be like, sorry, man, you just gotta understand, Jafiel? It's like, maybe if some people go down and Anquan Boldin wants to come to his fucking senses, he can come play for the Bills, but I don't think anybody should allow him back in the locker room. I don't think the team would. I really don't. And it's like, you want to play hardball? Okay. You want to fucking jam us? You know what I mean? Like, you're telling me he could have been used this year? Come on, Zay Jones had 7 targets the other fucking day. You know what I mean? Oh. 7. The whole reason Anquan Boldin's a great idea is he's durable, right? Yeah. 7 targets, 2 catches. Okay, and Deontay Thompson comes in off the fucking being cut. You know?
He signed out of Wegmans to come get 100 yards for us.
Signed off the Bears, actually. Yeah. But I mean, Kevin, any thoughts to that stuff with the letter here? I thought it was very well phrased.
You know what? It's funny because even outside this Boldin debate, and they come in everywhere. And this is one that I slap right in the middle. First of all, you're setting a big precedent. There was a lot of things going on in the country at the time of him stepping away. So, you get where he's coming from at the time period. It is ironic timing with the Sammy Watkins trade and the Darby trade to feel like your team's tanking, to then to feel like you're going to step away. It was right in the middle of that rally that did get him fired up. So I can totally understand his ability to want to go do bigger things. He's on that twilight of his career. The bigger note here, Dave, I don't think he looked very good in preseason. He looked slow. His one target he received in preseason, he wasn't even close on the same page with Tyrod Taylor. He didn't break on the route. I didn't think it might turn into an interception if I'm not mistaken. So I don't really think he had the playing speed, and I think that kind of played into it. And instead of saying, hey, I might not have it right now, you kind of use humanitarian things. I don't think any of that's been solved in the last 2 months for him to say, I want to come back and play football. There's still a lot of things going on in this country that, definitely need to be brought to the forefront. And, he, sat out for 2 months. Rumors that he wants to play for New England. Bean knows that. Although he wants to stay close to Florida, yeah, right, he'd go play somewhere like New England in a heartbeat. Bean's not going to let him go, and basically said, hey, he basically said tonight on his call with the media, we're not going to just let you go so you can go sign wherever you want. We'll trade you to one of those Florida teams, sure. We're going to get a draft pick, though, or you're not going to be playing football. So he did say, though, don't rule out, never say never with him playing, especially on a short week here. You never really know if he can come in and, give a couple snaps to a beat-up receiving core. Yeah, he said never say never, so it wasn't quite.
Yeah, they said they didn't discuss it. It wasn't a possibility, but if, Anquan brought it to them, they would then kind of cross that bridge when that happens. Which is fine. Hey, come prove that you haven't been sitting on your couch eating Cheetos. And if you're still in shape, maybe we'll give you a shot. I think that's great. I think they kind of Kevin, I know you're kind of professional. I'm kind of a dick, though. They basically pulled their dick out on the table and said, Anquan, ours is bigger than yours. A ball is still in our court. If we want to trade you, then maybe you have a chance to play, which is awesome.
Well, maybe it's also a call out to him.
A hard stance on it. They definitely did. They definitely played a card I was hoping they would play with. We're not just going to let you go to any team you want. We're going to control your future. So, that team better give us some compensation, which I don't know how a team could give anything up for him at this point. So, if you want to play football this season, you're going to have to play the Bills, and you're going to have to prove that you were out doing what you said you were doing. And then on top of it, you're still in game shape. So, we'll see what happens. If a team pops up and gives us a seventh, I'd be hard pressed to say we wouldn't even take that kind of draft pick for him at this point. A guy that's not even playing. So, we'll see what happens in the next couple of days. I wouldn't envision anything. I think more likely is that he shows up and we think he's in shape. I think that's more likely than anything. So, we'll see what happens over the next couple of days on that front, Dave. And, when it comes to Deontay Thompson, I know that got brought up. One of my favorite players in the offseason returned that 109-yard kick return on a missed field goal, which was just fascinating. Guy's got a lot of speed. He's got a lot of heart. He's played here, looked good, kind of like Rod Streeter, to where he had a great preseason and got hurt, cut immediately, signed by Chicago, cut for no reason 2 years later, which was a couple of weeks ago. Basically, they wanted to try their version of Brandon Riley and Tanner Gentry. They wanted to give him a shot, and they cut Thompson for it. And it's a dumb move. That's why you can't always just make a call at Brandon Riley and cut a valuable player on your roster.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be careful with that kind of stuff. Deontay Thompson's now over here catching 100 yards on four catches on 12 snaps. One of the most efficient games in NFL history, actually, according to Pro Football Focus.
And not for nothing. Yeah. I mean, I'm glad you touched on that. Nick, did you have something?
I was going to say, right. I mean, they let go of Kalen Clay, who's their guy. I mean, he's not performing that great. That's the guy that they wanted. He picked up by Carolina immediately. Boom. That's why it's tough. Everybody wants the scrappy white kid to come up, but who are they going to cut for him? I'm waiting for him to cut that Connor McDermott kid because they only need a fifth tackle for somebody, but we'll see about that.
Yeah, it's risky. There's someone he's a former 6th-round pick. McDermott will be immediately scooped up. Guy like Clay got just straight up beat out by Thompson in 4 days. So, they realized that that's kind of the role they were looking for from Clay, traded for him. From a man corner in Kevon Seymour, that's what they traded away for him. You're looking at it and they're like, you know what? We're going to save this roster spot. We need a cornerback. given a shot to a very talented, actually, Lafayette Bibbs, a guy that they claim from a very talented Jacksonville defense. So, I'm looking forward to him playing this week, actually. If Gaines is in fact out like he's listed, like I'm expecting, you're going to get a little bit of playing time, at least from Bibbs. So, look out for him. If anyone gets tweaked up, you're going to get a full game of Bibbs. So, the waiver wire is very important. Those last couple of rosters, you got to be careful with cutting guys for practice squad guys. I mean, you almost lost Trey Elston earlier, a safety who I think is a pretty decent backup safety, went into Philadelphia, a situation that was pretty good for him, and unfortunately got caught up in a numbers game there. And the Bills signed him immediately right back when they knew that they kind of made a mistake messing with their roster a little bit.
Well, Kevin, as far as the rebuttal and everything you said, Anquan Boldin, I would like it if he could step in and play. If the locker room accepts him, come do it. But, I mean, man, that's a hard sell. Yeah. And I think it really was a push from Brandon being like, dude, what are you doing here? Like, we're desperate here. We're rumored to – I saw something I want to ask you, Kevin, or Nick, if there's any validity to it. Are the Bills rumored to be in it for Terrelle Pryor from the Redskins or no? Was it real?
Who knows?
I saw some erroneous thing on Twitter. I don't know.
I would say that's not real. Yeah, I would say that you're picking up about $2 million, which isn't egregious. You're potentially bringing in a guy who, could fit, didn't really get there in Washington. On a real low budget trade, I mean, whatever. But I don't think that's. I don't think the Bills are in the market for trading for underperforming players on other teams.
What about that pick for Dareus, though? A 6th round pick. You just saved $4.5 million this year. I mean, can't you bring somebody? You think that I'm not the pro scouting department. You know what I mean? So I don't know who the hell's out there, but I would be really curious to know. Because you got a guy like Navarro Bowman coming in the league getting 11 tackles on 3 days of practice. I mean, come on, man.
That's just collusion to me, man. Yeah, I mean, that whole situation was bizarre.
What do you mean?
Basically, he knew he was signing in Oakland. Basically went to the front office and said, I'm not going to play for you guys anymore. You have your young upstart linebacker behind me. They obliged because he was their longtime Kyle Williams. And, the next thing you know, he's playing for Oakland and in a situation where he was probably already talking to their coaching staff, if you want my honest opinion.
Yeah, he doesn't have to pick up his house and move. He doesn't have to leave his family. He's going across the bay to Oakland. It was a pretty sensible idea. I would love to see him come here. I mean, he's an East Coast guy. He played at Penn State, was a stud at Penn State. But yeah, he knew exactly where he was going as soon as he got
going. Yeah, he knew what was going on. He knew he basically had a trade with the Saints, and Saints are a good football team, especially growing on defense.
Yeah.
The next thing you know, he said, "No, I don't want to go there," and basically picked where he wanted to go for free. So good on him, and good luck to him in Oakland, and just not this week. But it's a situation, Dave, where I think you're looking at players who are going to make your locker room better, who are going to make your total atmosphere better, and I don't know, an underperforming guy who kind of got paid a little bit in free agency is going to come in and do that. And you got to be careful with players like that. I mean, that's kind of who you're trading away right now. So I do think there's something to guys that got cut for no reason, like a Deontay Thompson. No way he's not their best top 3 receivers on that Chicago team. So, it's just you're looking for guys that were given the raw deal rather than guys who aren't performing.
I just want guys on the Bills who are team players because they're showing that if they just stay – that they're bonding. And, my biggest reason I love Rex Ryan is I couldn't wait to see the free agents that come because the Buffalo Bills needed Rex Ryan to come here to get more publicity. Okay, it worked. All right, and now you got McDermott here, and now I can't wait for this team to come together. Not to be a little positive here, but I will. I can't wait for this team to come together even more because they're pulling each other out of the trenches. They're improving in the game themselves. Look at Trey White as an example. AJ Green burns him, and then he has an alright game after. At the same time, Evans had a good time on him too for a sec, but then he gets a fumble. And he caused a fumble, and it's like it's cool watching these players develop and the team gel and everybody helping each other out. And that's something to ride home to in the future in free agency. And it's kind of weird. Like, I can't wait to see the kind of players they bring in for the draft. They have so much equity. It's crazy. Like, I'm stoked that their record is what it is right now. And they can look, we've been 4-2 before. at the same time, it feels like the ship's kind of together. But hey, New England has a dumbass record, and it's like we know that a few of those wins, like they do every year, we always forget about the early season ones that the refs kind of seem to give them, or they get the break somehow, right? So, I mean, how are you guys looking for Oakland and through the rest of the season? And I don't know who wants to start. Nick, you want to go here?
Yeah, well, first off, the kind of just finish up on Terrelle Pryor. If you're looking for character guys, he's the least character guy. He's the guy that couldn't take a one-game suspension at Ohio State, so he went to supplemental draft because he got those free tattoos. Dude's a scumbag. Let's just throw that one out there. Now, as far as the rest of the season, I mean, every game's gonna be tough. I mean, the Dolphins look like crap, but they're still somehow 4-3, something like that. Raiders are gonna be a tough team. They just beat Kansas City. We have New England twice within 3-4 weeks. We have Miami twice within a month. All divisional games. It's going to be a dogfight the rest of the way, and it's going to, as long as they keep going the way they're going, I have faith that they can do it. You flip their record right now; they're 8-4. That's 2 wins away from playoffs right there. The one thing that it's kind of weird, and I don't know if I heard it on the radio or something. Or I saw on Twitter. At the end of last season, the Bills were like the dumpster fire of the NFL. Like stuff was getting leaked. Players don't want to do this. They're hearing grumblings everywhere. Now they're probably the most put together team. They're a family. They're getting rid of the bad eggs. It's such a strange transition that's really positive for them right now.
Credit that to that guy, Kevin, that Derek Boyko over there. And, the PR department pretty much, right? I mean,
yeah, for sure. I mean,
Bill's PR department treat us like fucking kings, first of all.
Yeah, they did. I mean,
so easy to work with. Can't think of enough I can't.
Yeah, they were great for us. They gave shots to medium to lower level bloggers and guys covering the team, and really liked the work Eric was doing. And anyways, if you look at it, you can't speak enough to like leaks coming out. I mean, that's just unprofessional. I mean, it could have been Rex Ryan.
No, you know who it was, Kevin. Not to cut you off, you know who it was. I think it was. I think it might be that Scott Berchtold dude, because I think Sale might have. I saw Sale Sports, I believe, Zacapaggio loosely. Don't quote me, but I'm gonna say it. I thought I saw him post something on Twitter saying, after they pretty much left Whaley out to dry, if you notice, that Scott Berchtold, he got moved to another department, not even having to do with the fucking Bills. You know what I'm saying? So, they kept him within the company, but after he was moved, there was, no leaks. Nothing. Yep. And it was just like a game of patience. Hey, we're just going to trust the process, and, I like these guys. They just take their time. It's like, no, they really don't. Just nothing's just coming their way, man. And you know what? Bean, to kind of wrap on, not to add to that fire, it's like, I like that they're setting a precedent. No, we don't fuck around. The Bills don't fuck around. If you come here, you're playing or you're not. If not, yeah, well, put it out there. Yeah, we can trade you. If that's what you want, that's fine. But it's got to be approved. We're not here to dick around. And we're a team. And it really is. You can do that at 4-2. You can't do that at 2-4. Because I'll tell you what, McDermott's pressers are going to get real old when you start hearing about process and jargon, this and that. And I love all these callers. Oh, he's just so great. And I think he is great. He's professional. And I think he's an awesome coach. And he's what you need. And he plays by the book. And that's what you need sometimes. You need to have that professionalism, and he does deliver it nice. What are you doing? Of course he's hanging out with the family on his off time. What do you think he's going to say? Riding go-karts and dirt bikes and, getting drunk with the boys and wrestling on the deck? No. You know what I mean?
So is it almost like you would say the inmates are not running the asylum right now?
Yes.
I take it, is that too soon? Is that what the silence is? Too soon for that joke?
Oh, wow. That Texans joke, and McNair said something racist. Shocker. Really, what the fuck is your problem, dude? And it's
the guy who flips off the crowd at a game with the old Texan white guy. Yeah.
Hey, you know who I would love to interview? I honestly never read the article, so I should read it. Didn't Tim Graham do an article with Aaron Maben? And as a guy who, myself, I do like artsy kind of stuff. Excuse me. That's a fly in my throat. Took a lot to say that. So, I kind of do some artsy stuff. I play some music, and if I'm out to it, I'll draw if I got some time, which I don't really ever try to, but I would try, like I'd work on my hands and craft drywall mud. And so, like, he interviewed Aaron Maven, right? And after he retired from the NFL, and I would love to talk to him because I think he referenced something about it being like kind of like slavery, like how these guys go up there at the combine and you're all like checked out and it sounds like fucking horses. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like really
check
a creepy.
Your teeth, check your background.
Yeah.
Your mom's a hooker like Des Bryant.
And it's like this fucking McNair character. He's a piece of shit. And it's like, come on, man. Like, football is not the sport to do that. Especially, look at what Jack Kemp did as far as racism and it's like, keep in mind, Jerry Jones is an oil man, and oil pays the bills. All right, so it's like, okay, all right, guys, you did your song and dance. I'm gonna kneel with you. Here we go. All right, let's go, guys. We're a happy family now, right? It's like bullshit. Fuck you, NFL. You want to do something? Get out in the community yourself with the NFL badge. When the Ray Rice tape finally comes out, man, next week, damage control, domestic violence is taken care of, but something that might hinder, your sponsors. So like, okay, let's just sacrifice people's lives and getting concussions because of your sponsors, because they can't smoke weed though, but you've gone down this road a million times.
Weed, but you can pump them up with opiates, and don't get a video of you slapping your wife around.
We can definitely help out.
It's all about bottom dollar.
Yeah, exactly. We could definitely help out. Well, how about you run a campaign about like, hey man, let's be nice to each other. Hey man, adults need hugs too. Hey man, maybe Uncle Jimmy who has an opiate problem, maybe you should fucking support him and maybe help him out a little bit and not just fucking shame him for being a piece of shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, what the fuck? So anyways, I guess that's pretty much it with the NFL. And I'm just going wild here. I mean, Nick, it sounds like you're ready.
Oh man, the biggest thing, like, so yeah, I mean, Bob McNair's a piece of shit. That's it. But like, there's a figure of speech that's like, I can't get that people are like, I'm going to quit my job as a multi-million-dollar NFL player over a figure of speech. I remember a few years ago, they got mad because somebody said, let's just call a spade a spade. And they took it as racist because a spade's a black card in the deck, but that's not anywhere where the figure of speech comes from.
Mm-hmm.
I could go on. And then Draymond Green saying, it's 2017. I know it's figure of speech. We can't use those figures of speech. I saw a Halloween costume of a kid. He went as a millennial. He was wrapped in bubble tape, and it said, I'm fragile everywhere. I was like, that is the perfect costume for millennials.
It is, man. It's a little sensitive, and I'm down with some of the progressive stuff, but it's almost more like I'm an Italian man, so I was raised with like the Dago values here, which is like open up the door for grandma, kiss her on the cheek at least. And it's like, if you do some research into marketing, I go on these rabbit holes of podcasts, and it's like relationship marketing. It's like, well, what's relationship marketing? Oh, I'm going to go knock on someone's door and tell them what I'm going to do, what my service is, and before I do it. And it's like, wait, you have to teach that? Wait, what do you guys do? Just knock on the door and be like, here, I'm here to vacuum out your money. Give me your fucking dough. And it's like, what? Like, if you didn't walk into your friend's house and say hi to their parents growing up, you're a piece of shit. You know what I mean? Like, that was the values I was raised on. So, like, if I'm going to step into someone's house, I'm going to greet them, let them know that I'm an idiot with my dog tattooed on my hand. Here I am to help you. Like, this is what I'm going to do in your house. Speaking of, you say hello to the mother, you thank them for everything. Even if they sat there and talk shit about you the whole time, you thank them for taking you in their home. And don't be shy with the S cookies. Dude, we got... the cookies, Italian cookies, are freaking best. Kevin, are you Italian? We have Kevin here. We can't keep going off on Italian tangents.
Wait, no. It's funny. I'm 100% Italian. So.
Are you wrong?
Oh, he gets it. Paisan.
We got a party.
A lot of people give me a hard I on my last name and call it Massare, but I'm not Polish. Yeah, I'm 100% Italian. So, it's pronounced Massare. So I get it. I'm following you guys.
Kevin, even though Nick acts more Italian than us, you realize he's the least amount, right?
Well, probably true. He can't be more. He could be the same.
I know he isn't. I already know these deets.
My last name's Greek. My grandmother's Slovak. My grandfather, we think, is Italian. We don't know. He was adopted into a Greek family.
So
my mom's off the boat.
So you're Mediterranean.
Oh, okay. Well, you got a lot of the same similar type of stuff.
Wait, your
there,
mom is from Italy?
Yeah.
She is?
Yeah, she came over when she was like 3. My uncle was like 8.
Really? My mom came over when she was 18.
I feel like if we go back in the archives, we talked about this.
Oh, bingo. We gotta keep talking about this sometime.
You guys
want
take notes.
I used to make ravioli with my mom when I was a kid. I mean, if you guys ever want to get up and come over, hey, guess what? Kevin is actually moving to Brockport, Nick. He's building a house in Brockport.
Why?
Ask my wife. Dave really liked that.
Hey, I grew up there, man. But I'm full East Side snob over here now. I'm in Penfield Webster, where life is worth living.
Yeah, where life is worth living. And you want to fucking know something, Nick? Fuck the West Side, dude. I am so over now, Kevin.
Oh, actually, you should know I grew up born and raised in Chilai, so
I'm a Gates brother, and
I tell you what, I live in Penfield, but they smell it on me. They're like, just there's something off about this guy. He's got too much hair. He's got a little West Side stink on him. They smell it on me over here.
Dude, no joke. Like when I get prices, so anybody who listens to this who's fucking met me on the job, go fuck yourself. So like, dude, I literally just throw shit at the wall for prices because I have no problem going like, yeah, I don't want to do it. Like, I have somebody give me an estimate and it's like their house smells like fucking cat piss. It's like, no, like I'm not doing it. Like it's like, I don't care how broke you are, or if your husband ran off with the cash, call somebody else.
Is that a cat
I'm not
dish?
here.
I have two cats, man. Is that a cat dish?
Kevin, are your cats, when I come do the remodeling in your basement, new build in your basement when your house is built, are your cats going to go down? Are you going to just let them fucking run free and become a cat lady within like a month of your house being built? And then I'm going to go in there and fucking work on shit? Or like...
Nah, their asses are going to be locked up.
No. Did you have like water coming in on some rotted drywall with your kids just sitting around playing video games, or... like, and flies coming out? Oh my god, I can't get any help from these guys. And it's like, dude, it's awkward. And it's like, sometimes I'll throw a price up there and they say yes, and I'm like, I don't want to fucking do this. Like,
yeah.
Like, I'd rather just do nothing.
Hey, what are you gonna do, man? I mean, can't hate on the West Side too much. Get a bunch of land for your money. That's all I'm after.
Oh my god! When I pay for my house, I would get a mansion over there.
Exactly.
That's the one thing I tell my wife all the time, but she's a Fairport girl and she won't let me leave.
Dude, why didn't you move?
Dude, in Buffalo's even worse. I live in Buffalo now, and it's like our market's just like literally. I'm talking about even it's comparable probably to the East Side. Anywhere in Buffalo, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
And houses are right on top of each other in Buffalo. Everywhere I go,
dude, no land.
Right
ridiculous.
on top of each other.
And they're selling for 30%, 40% over what they're even worth or more. So, selling here and moving there actually made a lot of money. So can't complain too much.
I'll tell you.
Able to build on the West Side, man. I mean, it's just, I want to be able to build on the East Side. So
the housing market's crazy though right now.
It's ridiculous. I mean, you can build a new home for what you can buy a piss beater for.
Well, I've had my kitchen apart. It'll literally be like 3 years this fall, like of like no normal kitchen. And it's like all of a sudden now the rustic style is in. I go to like Radio Social and these places where they have like wooden countertops. I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna save like thousands of dollars on my countertops now, because that's how much the times have changed. And then like the house next door to me sold for like $126, and I got my house for like $92. And it's like,
yeah, dude,
I had like the shell. I put a bunch of money into it. But it's like, at least you had the space so you can kind of like fly under the radar for permits a little bit here and there, you know what I'm saying? Just pay for it on the back end when you sell the house. So it's kind of like interesting that like the houses have already gone up, and I like look at the setups and I'm like, holy fuck, here I am hating my life and thinking my house is the biggest pile of shit, which it is. But I was just thinking like, wow, that's not too far off, and it sold for more money. Like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Like, so
Yeah, dude, it's a good market, man. Everyone wants to move. Hey, part of the make it full circle. Part of the reason you got Pagula in here investing billions in downtown Buffalo. I mean, you got a lot of stuff going on, and people want to be a part of being in Western New York. I mean, it's a great place to live. Got a good cost of living. I mean, you got a lot of good things there. You got pro sports. I mean, you can't complain too much about what you're getting for your money when you're looking at shitholes in San Francisco selling for $1.5 million.
Yeah.
So.
What do you guys think?
What
do you guys think about Oakland? Nick, what do you got coming up at the tailgate? And Kevin, are you going to the game?
Tailgate, we are probably going to have a shit ton of tents up because it's supposed to rain. We're hoping for Rachel Bush again to come up to do mustard for the catch-up ceremony.
Now, remind the folks at home who that is.
Rachel Bush is Jordan Poyer's top 30 Instagram model fiance and baby mama. Real cool chick. She scored mustard for us before. She was supposed to come up. We're kind of hitting some snags, so follow us on Pinto Tailgate. We're still having things, trying to get just another mustard girl up there. Ketchup guys are pretty full. Last week was pretty cool. We had the head of Bills Backers Italy come up. Apparently there's like 13 people in Italy that like the Bills, and he's the head of it. Real cool guy. This week we have a longtime friend coming up to do catch-up, Tobin. Real great dude. Loves the catch-up ceremony. He's been with us for like 10, 15 years, so happy to get him up there. And of course, I mean, my wife will be up there. My buddy's wives, they're top 20 Instagram models. But yeah, I mean, same.
Nick, do you really think they're going to listen to a bunch of Dagos talking right now, or no? Two Dagos and a wannabe?
2.5 Dagos. We're like a Charlie Sheen TV show here.
That's funny. No, I mean, yeah, for me, I've gone to 3 straight, so I'll be sitting this one out. So I won't be attending this week, but hey, it's gonna be a good game.
What's wrong with you?
Dude, I don't know. Just gonna sit this one out. I'm gonna actually take a look at a more like trying to watch a little bit more scheme this week. So I need to put in one of those weeks, as you can't really tell what's going on in the game, and I need to watch different angles if I can.
Hey,
so.
do you want a good? Do you guys want a good argument?
Sure. What's your argument?
Not a good argument, but a good conversation.
Sure.
Ask Eric, Eli Manning or Peyton Manning. Just ask him. And then,
I'd rather not.
And then ask him the clutch rating on NBA Jam and how that's a factor for Eli Manning.
All right. Well, I'll give him a shot. I'm sure he'll yell at me, but...
Why? Don't be scared. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. It's okay.
Is he picking Eli over Peyton? Because that's just nuts.
It's a long story.
I think the only place that Eli wins is in partying.
Well, the reason I miss you, Nick, at your last tailgate is Eric was at the tailgate and tailgating with his friend, his best friend, and really cool dude. I believe I was on a podcast with him one time before, and him and I like hit off pretty good. And he's got like I think like a jewelry pawn shop kind of thing. So of course my kind of dude. Like, all right, yeah, sick. You know what I mean? Like, and like I got something to tell me like how him and Eric, what I just snorted, how like him and Eric would like they would get in arguments over Eli and Peyton, and Eric would be like, look, 2 championships, man. Eli won those games for him, and I kind of can't disagree. Eli really is clutch, and it's like. I mean, but Eli's fucking horrible, but I was kind of just egging it on. And then they like stopped talking to each other for a minute, and it was great. So I had a good time, man. I had a great time. But Nick, I didn't see you at the tailgate, but I mean, honestly, it was like a really interesting conversation because I'm of the mind that the quarterback is obviously a thing for the media to talk about. Yes, is it very important? Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, definitely. Like, duh. You need one, but I mean, we've seen guys with not the best arms adjust and read defenses, and you know what I mean. Yeah.
Look at Peyton Manning's the Super Bowl with the Broncos that he won.
Right.
I mean, he couldn't do anything. He was a shell of himself with an injury. That's why I hate the hating on Tyrod argument. It just blows my mind. People just it's the
I had to tweeted something that was like, yeah, everyone still can't give him credit, and everyone's like, well, just because he's the best quarterback we've had doesn't mean I have to like him, blah blah blah. Like, just because he's 12th overall in a lot of stats or different analytical breakdowns, like, oh, they lie, they don't. Like, I just don't like when people use like things like the it factor. Like, that's just made up. Like,
it's like Skip Bayless has ruined people's thinking of quarterbacks. You know what I mean? Like, it's like when people say this, it's like I feel like Skip Bayless is talking to me who has no clue about anything.
Well, guys, let's be real here. I mean, it's a position that we talked about ad nauseum, but I mean, it really pays the bills, and it's very easy to talk about. And the thing that kills me is they just like to throw off these loose bullshit terms. Well, you know what they say, it's a quarterback league. Well, you know what they say when you say you know what they say, which is like, I've reevaluated you know what they say, and it's like, man, who came up with this shit? And you trace it back, and it's a bunch of bullshitters. Because they have a you know what you say for any situation you fucking want to make it to manipulate it to whatever the fuck you want it to be. And I'm sick of this whole shit because, yeah, we all think Trent Dilfer, but like Russell Wilson wasn't the best quarterback in the league when he won recently. Johnson with Tampa Bay was not a super good quarterback. It's these guys don't fuck up. And if you're following the Andy Reid model, Tyrod Taylor's here to stay for a couple more years. He's not fucking it up.
Well, at least one. I mean, hey, you got one more year of Tyrod Taylor for sure. He's going to count against $8 million against the cap anyway. So why would you cut him? You can save another $8 million to $10 million by cutting him. So realistically, you're paying 50% of next year's salary for him. So you might as well have him as a QB1 while your new guy's developing. So
exactly.
I don't really, very similar to what's going on in Kansas City right now. And you got to remember, McDermott's a Reid guy. He's going to follow that exact model where they're going to draft the first or second round quarterback, presumably a first, with one of their first two picks. And they're going to let him go under Tyrod for a year, definitely a year. Past that, I can't really say. I guess Tyrod could fall off a cliff or get badly hurt, but outside of that, you're already paying him 50% of his salary next year, anyways, if you cut him. So, the way the contract are structured, he's going to get his 2 years, $30 million. So you might as well, have him on your roster next year.
Keep him, even if you keep him as a QB2 for that. If he tanks the rest of the year, you have a starter that you keep as your backup there. There's no way you get rid of him next year. I mean, the hope is he leads Buffalo to the playoffs this year. He does the same thing next year, and then he gets incredibly overpaid somewhere else, and we have our rookie coming in. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, there's opportunities for many things that could happen, and the way his contract is, a lot of people say it's a 1 year prove it deal. No, that's what he was kind of on last year. He's kind of on a 2 year deal right now. You can cut anybody if you want, but in theory he's on a 2 year deal. So he's on a 2 year, $30 million deal. You could save a couple of shekels by cutting him. Unless they're really making moves elsewhere and really need the money, I don't think you cut him in most situations here, unless there's a reason.
He's pretty much arm around Bob McNair picture getting leaked to the media. The only way he's getting cut.
Yeah, I just don't see it. I mean, it would take a catastrophic change in play to me, like one where he's just not even himself. For over the last 10 games for anything to happen there, but you got him on the roster, you got him locked up long term, or at least
he's throwing he's throwing the ball over the middle. You know what I mean? He's improving as a quarterback, and it's like,
he's dropping in buckets right now, dude.
Dude, his I'm telling you, situationally, the Bills had me fucking pulling my hair out, and I'm sorry to the Twitter followers. I was just negative, and I get on people just for being negative, but I get my haterade on sometimes because I was about to blow my brains out in the second quarter. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And, I got to say, though, the offense looked like a typical inconsistent offense from last year where, man, how did we get 30 points? Who fucking cares? We did it, though. Yay, me and get rah,
in that second quarter, they were a dumpster fire. They couldn't get players on the field, and I didn't even notice it was because Eric Wood lost his shoe, so they were arguing for 15 seconds of it. Yeah. If you watch the mic'd up thing, they're sitting at the McCoy. He's sitting there arguing. He's like, why does he have to go with the field for missing equipment? Or why wouldn't we get a timeout for it? Like when he loses his helmet, he lost his shoe. It's a part of his equipment. There for 15 minutes, and they can't get a guy in. They had to take a timeout. Everybody booed. And there was a guy like 2 rows behind me that was just like mother effing Tyrod. And I was like, well, what are you doing? That's all coaching.
For Peterman in the first quarter. So that was fun. Anyways,
did you see Tyrod get picked up really quick by somebody? Like after he went down, he got picked up really quick and took a second to shake out. Like, yeah, dude, you're not going out. You're playing concussed, buddy. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Look, he's a top 15 quarterback right now. That's what he plays like. If you want to trade away or get rid of a top 15 quarterback for another lottery ticket, another try at the dance, try to get the top 5, top 7 player, have at it, but realistically, that's what got you in the drought in the first place.
Exactly.
I don't trust the people who are going to make these fucking picks, frankly. Like, let's be real. I don't trust them.
It's tough to trust any of them because then they're gone in 3 years if they make the wrong pick. They don't have any accountability.
They're gonna make 2 more years of picks.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, guys, we got a clean house. And I'm telling you, Bean's fucking balls are going to be stapled to the wall pretty hard if this team does not make the playoffs and you don't have. And I know it's not on him, but when you're just giving away pieces, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you're basically saying they don't fit your culture. So at that point, if you're trading away players, you better be drafting players that do fit your culture, and you better be damn good at it because you're trading away players for 10 draft picks. So right there, you better make sure you're hitting on 5, 6, 7 of them. 5, call it 5 to be safe. Yeah. If you're not, you can't go with Whaley because at least Whaley would back it up with talented trades or talented free agents. But at this point, if you're missing on draft picks, it's going to be a long drought for us. This year might be the best year they have because next year they're losing a couple more players. So, you're looking at $42 million in cap space next year. You need to do something with it. And even a more eye-opening number than that is $90 million they have in 2019. $90 million. What are you going to do with that? They've really cleared off a lot of cap space. A lot of dead money falls off. And you have $42 million with Tyrod counting for 18 of it next year. So, that's saying he's going to be on. That's why I'm also saying he's going to be on your roster because you're not going to try to save another 8 nickel and dime and save another 8. I guess you could bring you up to 50. Then what are you going to do? I mean, what are you going to do with it? You're not going to go out and sign a $40 million defensive lineman. I mean, what are you going to do? So
I think they can't get rid of Cordy Glenn, guys.
Furthering your cap space. I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, you got to imagine that they're at least going to kick the tires to try and re-sign George Matthews, try and re-sign EJ Gaines. That's 2 of their guys, 2 starters. Their contracts are up after this year. You got to think they're going to be trying to re-sign those 2, so you got that money going towards next year as well. At least one. You got to think one of the 2 is going to re-sign. Hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, you also have Preston Brown. You're going to re-sign most likely. You have a couple of pieces there.
Preston Brown is one right now. I want to call it. I want to say. I said it during the middle of the game to myself, like Preston Brown is the guy you gotta. That's the one that you kind of like how they snuck off Eric Wood in the middle of the season. They did Fitzpatrick middle of the season. Like, fucking extend Preston Brown now, man. Get this. You know what I mean? And maybe even after this game, extend him now. You know what I mean? Like, come on, dude. The guy deserves it. I've been a huge Preston Brown fan since day one. When you talk about a kid who grew up watching film with his dad, I mean, that's how I know. I didn't play guitar until I was older, but it's like watching my father, I kind of pick things up. It's like, that kid eats and sleeps and breathes football. And when it's in the bloodline, there's really something to that. Because you pick up the same practice habits, like literally imprinted from your father's DNA. And it's like, I don't know, I like the coach's son type player. And no matter what the defense, the dude is salvageable. No matter what. And he's been good, like very good.
You got to imagine he's going to cut more weight next year, too, knowing how this defense is now. And hopefully he'll be faster.
He's even cut weight from last year, dude.
That's what I'm saying. No, I'm saying hopefully cut more. I mean, our linebackers are really good right now, but they're still kind of slow, still kind of getting torched by tight ends. And, I mean, that's kind of the one weak spot of our defense, but I agree. I would lock him up. I'd lock him up and try and
You're looking at a core with Milano. That's definitely their long-term guy. Really good draft pick in the 5th round. You have Vallejo, a backup linebacker that you're going to develop. You're going to sign Preston Brown. Pretty confident of that as – I really do think they're working on something to re-sign him. So, I mean, you're looking at a couple, younger to middle tier linebackers that are going to help you out. You're gonna put someone else there too. There's no way they don't address another linebacker this year with their money / draft pick. So you can pretty much count on linebacker being a spot. And I don't think you're going to throw big money at it. So you're going to pick another one of your guys and kind of fill that position group out. I think if you throw money at someone, it's going to be kind of your preferred cornerback, in my opinion. So, and if it's EJ Gaines, it's EJ Gaines, but you're going to throw your money at someone to supplement with Trey White in the offseason. So we'll see what develops there. You've already got your two safeties locked up relatively longer term. So, that's the move you make as a cornerback there. And you're honestly going to need two defensive tackles, though. I mean, you're talking about Kyle Williams last year. So,
yeah, but he'll be done. But they got Thornton. What is Worthy's deal up after this year too?
yes.
Is he? All right.
So you got Worthy and Thornton's deal are both one more year remaining. So you're pretty thin on the D line. I mean, you have your two starting defensive ends, and then you're kind of weak there. So you're gonna have to make changes there and potentially bring in a free agent, pay a little money there. So you got your defense roaring. You have a lot of money. You have $42 million rolling over 13 this year before you're even talking about cutting additional players who might be thinking about getting cut there. I mean, you got Cordy Glenn, who you can move if hopefully you keep him. I mean, you got a couple players there that are always kind of at risk of getting cut. So the team's getting lean now, so we'll see what happens.
Guys, I think that if to wrap this conversation up, if this team makes the playoffs with Sean McDermott, I'm just envisioning Sean McDermott as Tony Montana in the fucking bathtub with the cigar, the honeys, or whatever he's into. And
he can have me as one of those honeys if he makes the playoffs.
Yeah, seriously, I will put on a thong, dude.
I'll do anything he wants.
Anything, dude. I will rub your feet, whatever you need. I'm not a feet guy.
Dude,
but
like
Sean, let me tell you,
we don't mind sucking on toes.
Sean, you look a little more stressed the fuck out, okay? We see you got the salt and pepper coming in your beer like I do too. All right? You're balding. We get it. You're stressed. I got the weed. I don't think they drug test. I'm here.
Yeah, they're gonna drug test the coach.
Yeah, okay. Man. Come on, dude. Like,
I'll be there. Tell him bald is beautiful.
Like Phil Jackson did acid for like 30 days straight or some shit. Like
the peyote, yeah.
Yeah. Then what do you know? Motherfucker wins championship. Sean boy, chill out. But I'm telling you, man, if this team makes it to the playoffs, year one with this fucking dude, and you go into the draft with the equity that they have, holy shit. Like, I am getting excited right now. But they're still only 4-2.
If he makes the playoffs this year, he has at least 8 years. Like, you could go playoffs first year, and he'll be a hero here for the next 8 years.
I think you got to ride.
He'll never pay for a drink here.
You got to ride coaches out, man. Like, seriously, like, how dare they fire Tom Coughlin in Giants land? Like, seriously, that was stupid. That was stupid. They shouldn't.
He was about to get fired, but right before his first Super Bowl.
Still, man, I think the media fucking gets calmed down with Coughlin in there. Like, Coughlin calms a lot of fires that we don't see, and then you see these other guys come under fire, and it's like, oh man, they're so brutal. Like, we think they're bad on Buffalo. But it's like they set the example, and then these little Buffalo roster guys come in there, oh, let's go get Whaley. It's like, guys, go get a life, man. Try some Tetris or something.
Oh, man. Mr. Excitement, Matthew Fairburn, or Mr. Boston, Mike Rodak. Oh, yeah. They hit the hard-hitting questions.
So what do you got, Kevin, coming up? And do you want to tell us where we can find you? We can wrap this shit up for you guys.
Yeah, sure, man. I got a couple of big live shows coming up. Got one Sunday night reaction show, Tuesday live.
What time is your Sunday night reaction show? Because I always want to catch it. I'm usually listening to Nate Geary at the show up in Bulldog on the ride home.
Our shows are 7:30. So we'll go live like right as close to the end of the 4 p.m. games. Kind of talk about the day, anything wrapping up, kind of reaction from the game and press conference stuff. Leading us into Tuesday, which will do a live show, this trade deadline special, hopefully talking about a couple things. If not, just a normal show right into, the game on Thursday. So generally I'm working on, you can always find analytical pieces, cover one. I'm mostly in charge of Locked On Bills. So as always, you can find me at Kevin Massare.
Awesome. Nick, how about you, man?
Yeah, you can find me at Pinto Tailgate. If everybody could actually head over there, we're trying to raise $1,000 to get Jonah Javad to get squirted with ketchup in a full suit. Jonah Javad from channel in Buffalo. I don't have Buffalo TV, so I can't remember which one he's on. But he's a local sports figure. You see him on TV. really trying to get him to come up. The money that we're raising for him to come is not going to him. We're going to donate that to whatever charity, 26 shirts, which Del Reed, everybody knows, Mr. Dedler. Whatever charity he has or that he's collecting money for, we're going to donate that $1,000 to them. So check us out there. You can always check me out at Nick Pap 12. I'm sorry if I pissed everybody off on my Twitter. Or I seem to turn into public enemy number one, and every now and then.
I thought I saw you with that one guy.
Who, Phil? Thirsty Phil, who hit on Pinto Ron's daughter, got turned down. All of a sudden, he's talking about butt stuff with her.
Yeah, maybe it was that guy.
He's a dirtwit. I've known the guy for like 5 years too, and like never. He sees me in person, no problem. On Twitter, he's a super tough guy, but I'm used to it. On Twitter, I'm the same size as everybody else. In real life, I'm 245, and I played college football, so I understand if people don't want to talk tough to me in person, but
right.
That's neither here nor there.
Yeah, I gotcha. I know how that goes, dude. I know it happens to me all the time. I understand.
Okay, so we figured out who Joe Pesci is. Okay. I thought I was fucking Joe Pesci, but all right, I guess you're gonna out-Pesci me. Well,
I've been called Joe Pesci since I was like 13.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
Dad, yeah, I mean, I got to hit up one of your tailgates. I've been trying to. You guys just freaking sell up at like 8 p.m. or 7 p.m. I'm just not even awake yet.
So, yeah, if you're going to get there early, Park ECC is a good lot, or I forget the road right behind us, or even right next to us, the chiropractor's office. He's never sold out. He's actually really accommodating, a really super cool guy. So you can park right up to us. And we've had people roll in it. Like Sammy, our friend who has Down syndrome with us, the mustard, him and his parents came at like 10 o'clock last weekend. And they parked right almost next to the tailgate because they were in the lot right next to us. I mean, I love Hammer. I love pushing Hammer business. But when he's filled up,
but you guys sell out anyways. Yeah, you guys sell it anyways. You don't, unless it's like a late seat. Like you guys always sell out. So
yeah,
he has the business.
Yeah. So right next door, the chiropractor, they call it the dock lot. That's always open if you're going to get there a little late. I shouldn't say always open, but it's usually open if you get there a little late. So you can always park there. And I think it's the same price.
Yeah. I mean, what, 25? What is it?
20, 30, I think everybody went up to this year.
I think, for me, I get there like 9:15, 9:30. So it's not like late, but like at the same time, like I'm getting up at like 8:15. So you guys are already roaring. So.
Yeah, dude, I'm usually there at like freaking 10-ish, and then it's like people get people get talking. Then before I know, I'm like, fuck, I gotta head up to the Red Pinto, and I'm like, man, I don't know if I should go
my
or
wife
not.
here. I get every morning. I wake her up at 5 o'clock, and she yells, "This is inhumane," until she's on second part or start working her way through her second cup of coffee before I stop getting yelled at for waking her up so early.
Yep. No, I know how that goes.
It is kind of evil, dude. And like this weekend, man, I'll be honest, dude, it's gonna be all wet and shit. I'm probably gonna get there, like, try to talk the crew and get in there at like 11:30. Like, I really don't give a fuck. And I'll tell the listeners out there, like, if you have a poncho, wear it. Don't even wait till that rain comes in. You will freeze.
Yeah, don't be a tough guy. If it's not raining right at 1 o'clock, bring it in. Get the clear bag, because it's like, no, I'm warm now because you're moving around in the tailgate. When you're sitting there, like, dress warm.
Totally different problem than the last couple of weeks where it's been just like so hot.
Yeah. I'm bringing extra T-shirts because I'm fat and sweating through them. So what was it, like 2 weeks ago or not last week, the game before that? I had 3 shirts because I kept sweating through them. And now we're about to get pissed on.
Right. So it's always something, man. It's always something. So.
That's
absolutely. So thanks for the shout out for anyone once again tailgating. Make sure you check out all those cool things going on in your tailgate, and I think that wraps us up. Dave, anything from you?
No, man, I'm fucking here chilling, and I gotta call Mike Smith today or tomorrow to do a fantasy football podcast. I don't know if you guys check that out ever, but I have a really good time there because we just talk a bunch of smack. And he always has like these erroneous trade offers for Kareem Hunt, and it's like been like an ongoing storyline, so it's been kind of fun. Pretty much. I I'm good here. How about you guys?
Gravy, man.
All right. Well, everybody, that's been it. Numb Bills Fan Podcast number 151. Don't forget, follow Nick Pap on Twitter. Where's that? Pinto Tailgate?
At Pinto Tailgate.
And then what's your personal?
At Nick Pap 12, PAP.
PAP. I always put you in here like POP, whatever. And then Kevin Massare is KEVINMASSARE, and it's Massare, not Massare. Okay? Get this
I'm
right,
Italian,
people.
not Polish. That's the best way to say it. There's no ski or I or.
You know, man, this shit is not relevant to me. My mom is off the boat from Italy, and I failed Italian class. Get fucked. So,
yeah.
I win, Kevin. All right. Well, guys,
All
that's
right,
it.
fine.
I'm your host.
I'm third generation, so you definitely win.
I'm host Not For Nothing Dave. Shout out to everybody for listening and subscribing. Tell your friends. And thank you and good night.